Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 14. Once you've got qualifying, then the main 1 hour race. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sim Racing Alliance. And this is where it all counts. As all eyes go to the light, and we are racing.
He brakes late, almost takes out the car ahead of him.
He's getting a tow, a flash.
Argy right on the exit, rear end squiggle. Who's going to get the move done here around the outside?
Oh, dang!
Byron ran it so shallow there, and this has become a 4-car battle. Game of inches as the BMW is in the paint.
And we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 15. It's Division 1, round number 4. It is Donington Park, the best British circuit that is out there on the calendar, and it is going to be realistic. It's a dark one, it's a wet one, the overcast skies are out. I'm Alexa Marshall, joined by Philip Ennis-Muller and Ilpo Ruotsalainen. Gentlemen, this is the one I've been looking forward to. How do we think this is going to go, and how are you both doing tonight?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of tired of the work as usual, but I'm excited to see how this goes because, as we know, the weather for this one is kind of unpredictable, and anything might happen. It might be dry, it might be wet, it might be both.
Yeah, no, the mixed condition settings that the SRA admins have cooked up, it was a hit last season. The partially dry, the partially wet, the drivers needing to deal with the changing track conditions made for some great racing, and I'm excited to see how it plays out here at this tricky track. I mean, like you said, Alexa, it's a great one. It might be the greatest British one in the game. But, you know, the grass off to the side of this track, it looks a little scary, more so in the wet.
Yeah, well, it is dark, it is tricky. Ilpo, before we go on the track map, anything else to add?
I was going to comment on that grass. If it's wet, once you get on the grass, you're not stopping until you hit something. So, better not go there.
If you find a barrier at Donington Park, I would very much be surprised. As let's go over to the track map, shall we? Of course, like we mentioned, it is Donington Park. It is 4.02 kilometers. That converts to 2.498 miles. 20 minutes south, a 20-minute walk south of Derby, and right in the flight path for the East Midlands Airport. It is 12 corners across the entirety of this circuit, and of course you've got some good ones. You've got Coppice, Redgate, you've got the old hairpin as well, and it is all over the place. As Philip has mentioned, of course, you've got the grass, which is the only runoff you have around this circuit. You go off and you are going to not be having a good time. You start with a run down to turn number 1. That's, of course, Redgate. Over 90 degrees to switch back. You then head into turn number 3 and 4 of a right, left, and then into right-hander. It's Cranach Curves, followed by the old hairpin. Uphill left-hander, then takes you through Starkleys Bridge, and then through the turn number 7, off camber, over a crest as well, McLean's, then through the Coppice, which is turn number 8, and down into the braking zone. Some class it as 1, but we class it as 2, turn number 9 and 10, that is the S's, aka the chicane. That brings you then into the final part of the circuit. You've got the 2 hairpins. First it's Melbourne, and then it's Goddard's, which brings you onto the Wheatcroft Straight. Only 2 straights here, Wheatcroft, of course, between turn number 12 and 1, and then between turn number 8 and 9 is Starkleys Straight. It is a very, very interesting circuit, and Philip, especially with the championship order and how it currently looks, we could definitely be in for an interesting race tonight.
Yeah, so of course, after the past 2 races, Tiago Denarte taking both of our last 2 wins at Nürburgring and Barcelona, leading the standings overall ahead of Michael Menning, who had some bad luck in a couple of situations last week at Barcelona, still finishing P5, a good comeback for him, but leaves him sitting P2 in the standings. Anton Rushovich, the D4 hero, sitting up in P3. Excited to see what that Lexus has in store for us this race. Got to take a look, though, at the silver standings. Jurintis Butkus sitting there on your screen, P16, 105 points, is your top silver contender over Eric Marecki and Guy Manperson, hanging out in P18, 19 there with 82 and 80 points respectively. Before qualifying starts, we'll take just one quick look at this here screen. We got the team standings. The new World Sim Racing daddies, Kevin Blanchette and Andrew Rados, 341 points ahead of Anton Rushovich and Omar Asorcia. A tight battle at the top. It's anybody's battle. It's too close to call at this point in the season.
I mean, this is the midway point, so we will see how it goes. Gammon Person is an all-time name. Honestly, Dave, I would not be against that, but that is what you see on the board at the moment with all of these drivers, all these teams as well. It looks very close, but let's be honest, it's the Drivers' Championship that is the closest. P number 23 with Kurt Lime as well in the Porsche 992. So it is all to play for. Ilpo, if you're the man with the facts. If we're looking out for anybody tonight, who would it be?
That's actually an interesting question. I think it will depend quite a lot on the conditions, which is why this is such an exciting race, even before it starts, because it is impossible to tell who's going to have the advantage.
Yep,
Yeah, it may be impossible. As you know what, Philip, I've got this for you. I think we know why Guy Manperson may be down in P number 2 after what happened at Barcelona.
Fill me in. My memory is terrible. What happened to Guy Manperson at Barcelona?
He spun it in the chicane. Remember? After he had made his pit stop as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about Mr. Menning.
Oh yeah, Menning. I don't know. They both start with M. And I just instantly think of Guy Manperson for some reason. Yes, Mr. Menning. As I do wonder if qualifying has started yet, or if we're still in free practice.
It absolutely has not. We are still in free practice. Admin or race director hasn't clicked it over yet, so you've got plenty more time to talk about Barcelona last week.
Oh yay, let's get. You know what? Seems as we've got a bit of time. Let's remind our viewers, because this is technically the midway point. Let's have a look at where we've been so far this season and what is possibly still to come. And of course, we started off at Paul Ricard, was the Circuit Paul Ricard, the good old parking lot, where we saw a car go helicopter mode in one of the divisions. Week number 2 was of course the Nürburgring, just the GP, not the Nordschleife. This may be D1, but the story of that race was Selena Boonstra in the number 3 taking her first overall win. Then at round 3 was the Circuit of Barcelona Catalunya, and it is now going to be round number 4, Donington Park, the one, the only. Absolutely lovely, and it is now going to be there. Of course, then you go Hungaroring, Laguna Seca, Kyalami, Monza, still to come, but Donington Park. This is going to be the big question here, Philip. With this weather, we know that rain is on the radar, good old classic Britain, but how much rain are we going to get?
Hopefully, honestly, all of it. I want medium wet conditions. I want 2 of those raindrops up on my HUD. I want to see puddles on track. I want to see these drivers challenged to the max. I do not want a completely wet race. That would be boring.
Well, welcome to Britain. It always rains here.
It always rains, thankfully.
Well, right now you are getting challenged for quali at least, because it is showing light rain for the entire time. The track is barely damp. Oh. And with this many cars on track, it's going to be very difficult to choose whether you want to be on slicks or wets.
Yeah, so Qualifying starting here. You see the timer at the top of your screen, 2 minutes and 38 seconds. In 7 seconds here, we will get rolling for the start of this session. Trying to figure out who's first in line. I see Mr. Arced lining up behind a McLaren, but we're going to stay on Arced for a second. He's a fan favorite. He's our Division 2 champion from last season, competing in Division 1 for the first time and doing well for himself. He had a little bit of drama last week. Lap 1 at Barcelona, had a little spin on his own and caused a little bit of a pileup, but we're always looking out for Mr. Arc, and we're wishing him the best this week as he starts his first sighting lap in qualifying.
Yeah, now this is one of the things as well with this circuit. When you look at it, this may sound crazy. However, this is a very, very good Honda circuit. The Hondas are very notorious. Of course, the cars on level playing fields with BOP, but the Hondas are usually very good around here. So the Lamborghini, the Porsche, and possibly the Audi may be the cars to watch tonight. A bit of an underliers. Of course, you got the Beamers, the McLarens, the Ferraris, your usual culprits out there. However, as we're already seeing on this outlap, it's a very, very short lap here, and we will go on board with good old Arced, reigning Division 2 champion, and able to defend his crown, as of course he got promoted, but now he is in here and he is ready to rumble. It's round number 4 of season number 15. It is Donington Park. Of course, pit lane is very, very short, so if you get a drive through here, I don't think you're going to be worrying too much about losing many positions. But here we go then, on to the main straight. Of course, it is going to be the Wheatcroft straight, and now you run down towards Redgate. Very interesting where the circuit comes out. The pit lane exit right on the racing line. Entry to turn number 1. Through Redgate you go, and towards turn number 2 and turn number 3 of Corona curves. Can very easily be taken flat out in a GT3 if you know how to do it. Get as close to those curves as possible, but be careful of the weather. It may get a little bit slippy. Through Old Hairpin, and then through to Starkleys Bridge. The bridge is on the left-hand side if you didn't know. And then through the double left-handers and up into the right-hander. One more time. Hold on to it. It can be blind if you're a bit lower in the cockpit, looking at you, Yuki Tsunoda. And then over the crest into Coppice, onto Darkly Straight, onto the throttle in the Beamer as much as you need it to. It could be a little bit more awkward through Coppice to get it all through. And now down into the braking zone. And now through into the left-hander, of course, into the S's, aka the hairpin. AKA the chicane, I should say. The hairpin is up next, of course, named after a land down under city. It's good old Melbourne. Heavy braking into the right-hander, maybe the best overtaking opportunity that you are going to have this evening. Then onto the throttle again and again, into the braking zone and into the final corner, of course. That is going to be the one and only Goddard, and then on to Wheatcroft again. Very short run to the timing line here at Donington. The current fastest, 1 minute 31.412. That is going to be P number 2 for Arced. Not that far behind. He goes down into P number 3. Colin Dunham goes to the top in the 444. 131, but .31. And now that's going to be Fire Queso, 1 minute 31.090. Qualifying lap times are going to come in thick and fast. Arjun goes P number 8 to get a lap time on the board in his Porsche. But now, gentlemen, we've got an interesting aspect here. You've got Marecki, who's going to be there in P number 2 at the current moment in time. Simmons is there in P number 5. Dunham P number 4. As you got Aidan Burke, very deep in Melbourne it seems, but he may have got it absolutely perfect in some people's eyes. It could be very, very different. How is the Nissan going to fare around here? It's wet, so you would think the Boatley would have an opportunity, but around the final lot, but through Goodhards we now go down into Wheatcroft. Down across the line, only P number 16 though for him, and Guy Manperson up there in P number 5. He's going to be Joris Butkus, who goes to pole for now. 1 minute 36.05, less than a tenth separating the top two. That was Klaus as well, who's now P number 2. It's going to be Fernandez as well, P number 3. You got all the aerial shots, you got all the cars out there on the circuit. We've got plenty of drivers here tonight, and Philip, that is one way to kick off qualifying with just about 6 minutes left on the clock for the Silvers.
We are off and running, and as Arct crosses the line for his second flying lap, a huge improvement, 7/10 up on his previous lap, up into 4th place. The reason I was on the Nissan of Aiden Burke there for a second is as you were talking about cars that might have an advantage here, unfortunately we don't have any of the beautiful Honda on the grid. That beautiful Honda NSX, a fan favorite, Menning, of course, driving it to great success in some previous LFM Pro seasons, but this car is my kind of dark horse choice for, you know, cars that you might not normally expect to see in a normal Team Series race, but in the wet, this Nissan, I think it's got incredible drive out of these corners, and I'm looking for Aiden Burke and his teammate Peter O'Brien to have some great results this evening.
And now we're on the final corner. Burke, is he going to get an improvement here? He does go to the line. Slight improvement there for him. P number 17, a little jump up. If you don't know how qualifying works, it's a 20-minute qualifying session. First 10 minutes for the Silvers, final 10 for the goal. The Silver qualifying is going to be determined now. Of course, you can tell the Silver by the grey number plates with white numbers. The Gold Division drivers with the white number plates and black numbers. Of course, we've got Roy Key currently making his way around the circuit, Elpo.
So I was checking, and I think Evan Kim is the only one out on slicks currently. Everybody else seems to still be on wet tires, which I suppose makes sense. The track is still quite damp, so it'll be interesting to see if Kim can make anything work here on the slicks.
So light rain, and you're saying the track condition currently showing damp?
Yes, that is correct.
Interesting. So getting...
And Kim aborts immediately, so I think it's too wet for the slicks.
Yeah, but as these drivers go around, if the rain doesn't increase, maybe that dry line forms, it goes to greasy, and the slicks become the optimal tire.
Well, welcome to Donington.
It is possible, although I'm not sure there is enough cars because of the split qualifying for that to happen.
So Evan Kim actually returned to pits. He was maybe going for the strategy call, expecting it to go greasy. What? Oh, he's stopping. Never mind. Okay, back onto Jack Krause.
Yeah,
but
he's back on wets now.
Yeah, the slicks were not working. He's going for the strategy change. He's got 3 minutes left in this session. Of course, at the 10-minute marks. Go ahead.
While he swapped back from slicks to wets, Joel Moffat went to slicks to see if that will work.
Oh.
I don't think it will. I think the track is too wet, but it is very difficult to say when you're not driving and you cannot see the tire temperatures.
Eric Marecki, a huge improvement up to P2, less than a 10th behind Joris Butkus, but not quite enough to take that provisional pole. Joel Klaus lapping around in that Lamborghini that you mentioned, Alexa, doing well for himself, P3, just 5/1000ths of a second behind Eric Marecki in P2.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the Lamborghini. I'm totally not biased as a former Lamborghini driver, but it adapts very easily to the wet weather, and it's a very good car which can get the front end turned nicely. So, of course, with the hairpins of Goodard's, and then, of course, good old Melbourne as well, that's going to help you out. The SS chicane there as well. Got to be good through old hairpin. So, the Lamborghini out there definitely going to have a good moment. And, Philip, I shall let you talk a little bit more, as I need to just reset real quick.
So, looking at my race control, looking at the deltas, Ilpo, despite the fact that it's light rain, I would be expecting the track to be drying. I'm seeing a lot of red deltas on my screen. Nobody really making any improvements. Roy Key about a 10th up on his previous lap, but something's happening towards the end of this silver session. Is the track getting wetter? Are their tires getting shredded? Why am I not seeing improvements?
I mean, because most are out on wets,
okay.
Unless they have reset for fresh wets, I would suspect that their tires are pretty bad by now.
Mm.
Also, I think most most already have a pretty good lap in, so I kind of think they probably are just like trying for Hail Marys, which tends to lead to a lot of laps that end up not working out when you overpush something. So
Andrew Wilson, a big improvement here, crosses the line. It must have been invalid. I take it all back. Staying in 4th place for Andrew Wilson. We've got Mr. Wilson Fernandez in that beautiful primer gray McLaren, about 2/10 up on his time as he comes into the first of these last 2 tricky hairpins to conclude the lap. See if he can...
We do have information from chat. Apologies to call in there, Philip, but we do have information from the chat that the tyres are too hot after the first lap. Hello, that is a Nissan Rat. What was that? That was a car around in the middle of Goddard's.
Happens to the best of us. So we've got Simmons here, one of our final silver drivers to cross the line. No improvement from him. Guy Manperson still out on track on a valid lap, right up behind Mr. Daddy Douglas Mitchell in that beautiful Gulf liveried Lexus. The train conductor himself trying to navigate that tricky chicane, not seeing any improvement on his Delta, coming in 1/10 down off of his previous best. Might not see anything from him, and potentially the gap you see there in front, Guy Manperson, maybe getting held up a little bit by Doug in front.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out. Gold drivers are now out there on the circuit. The
Doug pulls back in.
The either 369 or 269 is gonna be the last one to come in. Douglas Mitchell comes into the pit lane. Guy Manperson, no improvement on the lap time from the looks of it. Yellow flag round on the exit of turn number 7, but now back to the pit lane. And now all these drivers coming through. One more silver driver to come through the final corner of Goddard's, and then we are on to the golds.
So just at the end of that silver session, we've got Butkus from Klaus from Marecki, Andrew Wilson P4, looking to see if any of these D1 gold drivers, as we jump on board with Jeff Spangler, can take it to Mr. Butkus, who, for a silver driver, he's been dominant this season.
I mean, we saw it last week, didn't we, at Spain?
We did.
Like, if you know how to drive a car, then you can be quick in it. Like, it's not the car, it's the driver. So now, as we do watch Jeff Spangler, reigning champion with the number 1, and it seems like he's gonna try it looks like he's gonna try his hardest to keep it, and he may have a bit more of a chance here at SRA, unlike Max Verstappen a bit in real life. However, very wide there, but luckily enough keeps on the curb. Is that going to be valid or invalid?
Well, I believe it was invalid, but hey, this is just his outlap. He's just getting the tires up to temperature. No real worries there. Of course, got the... go ahead.
We have some tire information. So I believe the drivers who are on slicks are Escorcia, Laz, and Flamger. Everybody else is on wets.
So 3 drivers, Laz, Sorcia, and which was the third one?
Flamger.
Timothy Flamger in the Audi, running 0 TC Audi on slicks in the wet. Only Timothy Flamger could do something that crazy. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, and we have already been right. I hope somebody's clipped that then, because we've already got chat. We've already got chat making quotes.
If you know how to drive a car,
you can be quick at it.
You love.
I'm not wrong.
It's true.
I'm not wrong. Just don't crash it into a barrier.
Oh, so on his first flying lap, you imagine his tires were still getting up to temperature. Andrew Rados immediately up into first place, pole position, a 1:30.230, gapping the rest of the field by over a 1/10. Peter O'Brien, you love to see it in the Nissan, quickly up into P2. The rest of the field struggling to get up to pace. Jeremy Mercer in that beautiful Ferrari 488, sitting P7 after his first flying lap. Dan Cran, you love to see the Mustang. It's a bit of an endangered species after the experimental restrictor bop. Only 2 left on the grid. Dan Cran up in 8th place. His teammate Gomer Wilson sitting down in P27, but that's just their first flying lap. We've got 6 minutes left in this session, all still to play for.
All still to play for, just below the flight path, and now you luckily enough, thankfully in sim racing, you don't have to worry about the jet spray, which is coming off from the planes as they fly over. But you do have to deal with that in real life. Just ask a lot of BTC drivers. But Donnell's currently sits at the top. It's going to be 129.912 yet to beat. Andrew Rados sits P number 2. Peter O'Brien P number 3. Dinarte sits P number 4 with Joris Butkus in P number 5 to hold out in the silvers. However, you can expect a lot faster lap times here. 5 minutes is to go as Renato Donez is going to pull into the gravel, maybe opting, maybe thinking, should I try a few goes out there on the dries? We'll wait and see until he comes out there on the circuit. Still plenty of drivers out there. Andrew Rados is going to be one of them. And, excuse me, sir, can we go on board with this man real quick? I want to check something. Excuse me, sir. We're in the UK. You're driving on the wrong side of the you're driving on the wrong side of the car, buddy. But it is now gonna. Yep, we're in right. Right. I get right. Manufacturers. We're in the UK. You're driving on the you are driving in the wrong side of the car. I'll let you off anywhere else, but not the UK. Anyways,
we've got Mr. Sir on a slight improvement here, down in P20, but a couple of tenths up on his Delta, navigating that tricky chicane. Careful on the curbs in the wet. Had a lot of drivers coming into the pit, so we saw Dornelles potentially with a strategy call going on to a different tire. Our other Brazilian, Thiago Dinarte, also came into the pits for a tire swap. Is this more drivers going on to the slicks, Ilpo?
I'm not sure, but it is definitely the wrong tire. The bottom 3 are all on slicks, and Escorcia is also really close to the bottom on slicks.
Mr. Syrup into P11.
Actually, he has already changed to wets. So yeah, the wet tire is definitely the right choice. I think even in 10 minutes, you're going to destroy the wets in these conditions. So I would say the ideal is probably to do like an outlap, 2 hot laps, then reset, and do however many you can on a second set of wets.
Interesting. So Jeff Spangler here down in P33. Not a great time for his first flying lap, but almost a second up on his Delta, coming around the final hairpin right now. 1.1 seconds up on his Delta, so it won't quite be P1, but as he crosses the line, P8 now for Jeff Spangler. Well done to him. Dornell's back out on track after that tire swap, so he'll be starting his next flying lap. Andrew Rados P2, about 3 tenths up on the Delta, coming into Sector 3 here. Take it away, Alexa.
Yeah, so into the chicane you now go, going to hold onto it. Donnell's back out there on the circuit as after a little bit of rally crossing from what the chat says. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications to get notified every single time that we go live. If you're watching on Twitch, you get 1 free subscription with Prime. Guess what? You avoid all the adverts that Twitch throws your way, not us. As right now into the final corners, Andrew Rados is going to be on there for NWSR. Nope, not saying that team name.
Oh, come on.
We are now going, as we're now going round the final corner, Andrew Rados is going to get very, very close, but not there that time. And he has now got a good old retro McLaren right in front of him. So many retro liveries this season, especially lads out there as well in the retro Williams livery. Gotta love that. Hopefully he wins, as I am not being biased at all. Jerry Mercer in the classic Ferrari as well. The good old red stripe, the yellow bar across the top, the easy sponsorships on the side. And now around the final corner for him. Gonna head down the Wheatcross straight and then past the pit lane down the line was P number 12 as I have a freeze momentarily. Where is he gone, Ilpo? Has he improved? Yes, he has. He's P number 3.
Yeah, that was a very good improvement from him.
So it is going to be all over the place. We've got some interesting drivers out there. Renato Dornelles is going to head to the line. Little bit of an improvement, getting an extra 100th in there. So not too bad. It's not too close at all. Right, while we work on the issues in the background, the formation lap comes to an end, and all drivers will go double file. It is Donington Park. It is season 15, round number 4. It is the home of many British teams, the home of many British racing series, and now we go here. It is wet, it is slippy, it is classic Britain for you. Some of the drivers will start in the Goodhards curve, but now as they come onto the weak thrust straight, it is Donington, and it is going to be Dornell's on pole. Rados P number 2. All eyes will go to the gantry lights as they get ready here at Donington. Green flag drops and we are racing. That's going to be a very, very good start for Dornell's. Not so much for Andrew Rados. Going to be a good start for Jerry Mercer in the background as well. Already trying to stick the nose in. The Nissan trying to make the move around the outside. Heading out through Redgate. Already going to have a car from the inside. But it's going to be onto the grass. Nissan holds onto the current position. But so does Jerry Mercer. Down through the Cranners. And all the way through to Old Hairpin. Going to be up against them round one by one. Single file, double abreast. All the way through Old Hairpin now. Luckily enough, everyone's got through nice and clean from what it seems. That's how you kick off a race. And it seems like, as we continue to work on the issues in the production truck, it is through the right-hander and onto the throttle again. As you head now up through the crest, over through Coppice. And it is all these drivers. A little bit of a move in the background there as well. It does seem as that is going to be a nice move almost done through the Coppice corner. And you now have all these drivers. Some may go side by side, some may single file. And of course, you got to remember, pit stop is only for tyres. You've got to take race fuel as you now head down the back straight. Of course, down towards Melbourne. After the Melbourne, through Melbourne we now go. And it is now going to be wheel to wheel, side by side. Joris Butkus all the way up and going to get past Dinarte there in the background. The silver driver making some moves. Anton Rushevic up past Klaus as well. It is going to be a McLaren who leads at the end of lap number 1, followed by a Lexus, followed by a Ferrari.
Very difficult conditions because it seems the weather did not change at all between qualifying and race. So everybody's gonna be suffering on overheating tires. Everybody is on wet tires currently. We have that information here.
Yeah, that's the way that we currently look at it. We may see a drop in stream quality, which we do apologise for. We are trying to mitigate the issues because we are now going through the S's. And Ilpo, we are back, we are running, and of course, the stream hasn't seen it, so why don't you fill us in on what we have missed? Because we've got Donnells, who is currently set up the top, Rados P number 2, and then Mercer P number 3.
So major happenings, while we had some technical issues. Anton Rasevich pitted for slicks, which didn't work out at all, and then he pitted again for wets and is now pretty far in last place. But we'll see if we can recover something from that. Flamter and Arc had some contact and lost a lot of positions for both of them. And after that, I'm not sure what exactly happened, but Arc ended up in the pit and then gave up and left the server.
So that is what's happened whilst we were away due to a good old leak in the production truck. As I will hopefully get my screen up so I can see what is happening out there on the circuit. But Mr. Muller, we have some good drivers out there at the moment. Of course, Dornell's still currently leads, followed by Rados, Mercer, Jeff Spangler, and then Peter O'Brien, who we're currently watching in P number 5. We are up and live on my end as well, and we are back, we are rolling, and we've got a good old McLaren there. We've got Andrew Rados with the fastest lap, and then we've got plenty of fights happening throughout the field. We got so many gaps, we got some good old trains all aboard the expresses, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're going on the Midland Main Line. As right now, Donnells is currently defending because he's got Mr. Rados behind, and we apologise for the technical difficulties that may have been caused due to the rain in the production truck. However, I'm Alexa Marshall, joined by Ilpo Russelainen and Philip Ennis-Muller. So, we are so back, ladies and gentlemen, and right now we got so many fights. We've got Andrew Wilson here who's defending against Mr. Sir, and you got that good old Macca's livery. You got McDonald's, and luckily enough, it's nice and clean here down the main straight, as you've also got a Porsche, which is going to be leading this train. That's going to be Joris Butkus, who is leading this train, followed by Omar S. Garcia, Klaus Marecki, Wilson, Sir, and then you can add, and then you've got Nixon in the background as the brake van. So all aboard the Porsche Express. Unfortunately, we're going to Donington, not the Nordschleife.
This train actually kind of exists because of Omar Escorcia. He's been running through the top silvers to overcome a rather poor qualifying result, and that has cost a lot of time for Marecki and Klaus, and that has kind of pushed this group together. And I feel like if Butkus is clever, he might just let Escorcia go to avoid losing more time. I mean, it will cost him some points, but depending on how he feels about his chances of defending for a full 45 minutes, it might be a smart move to just let the faster driver go.
Well, he's gonna. Oh no, he's just gonna let him free. Oh, got our switchback.
Oh, no.
Very deep,
Nice.
very deep by Omar Escorcia. Oh, we've also got Marecki who's trying to make a move on Klaus, but a little bit too far behind Philip.
Yep, we are so back. Thank you all for your patience on Twitch. Apologies to my dear friends on YouTube. We're still not back up there because of the way YouTube works. Thank you to Alexa and Ilpo covering for me as I caught my breath. Definitely was running frantically around the house, just like Kelvin Lau frantically trying to get around that Mustang of Dan Cran side by side into the braking zone of turn 1. Dan Cran maintaining the position with that beautiful defensive line. Kelvin Lau, though, not done yet. Turn 3 side by side into the braking zone of turn 4. He has the inside, he has the advantage in that Lexus, that beautiful Sons of the Drift Gods Madhouse Racing livery, getting the job done up into P14. Kelvin Lau.
You're getting props. You're getting props for the segue. What's happening on your end, Ilpo?
I drove the Lexus in wet on this track earlier today. I can tell you that going around the outside through that section is quite terrifying. It is quite easy to lose the car or touch the curb and then lose the car. So that was a very nice move by Kelvin Lau.
Yep, fantastic stuff. Looking to make a little bit of a breakaway now. Get up to Mr. Nixon ahead. 1.8 seconds the gap there. Jumping back up ahead to Mr. Omar Escorcia, still unable to get the move done on Butkus. And now the train has caught up. We've got the Lamborghini of Klaus, followed by the twin McLarens of Marecki and Wilson. This is a nice little group here, P7 through 11.
Yeah, all aboard Butkus Express as you now head into the Midlands, as you got somebody coming into the pit lane. That is Mr. Sir in the classic McLaren. The good old red and white, of course. Kind of banned in Formula 1 now because of the sponsorship. But either way, it's a big old billboard car. As you've also got all these drivers. I don't know why you're saying this corner's hard. I don't know why you're saying this corner is hard, Ilpo. It's perfectly fine to drive if you know how to drive a car. As then again, I have my British bias, so I can't say anything. Like, this is probably the track which I have the most hours on in Assetto Corsa Competizione. So who knows? If you would like to join an Assetto Corsa Competizione league, you can join Sim Racing Alliance. Go to the website and join the Discord. It is of course SRA.gg, and you can find all the information there. And it is now through the S's onto the Melbourne hairpin. Unfortunately, we have no Mount Panorama this season, so the only Melbourne you're going to get is this hairpin, which looks like it's going to be a switchback setup for Butkus. But no, Omar Escorcia straight into the back of him, a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit argy-bargy, but no moves done. And I will just say, Dornells has opened up that gap a little bit, now 1.6 seconds. So the top three starting to run away with it a little bit as these trains do continue around this circuit.
Dornells from Rados, the gap 1.6 seconds currently, and an additional 1.2 back to third place. Jeremy Mercer. Jeff Spangler, one of, I believe, his best results of the season up here in P4 in the other Madhouse Lexus. Peter O'Brien, a strong P5 in that GTR Nissan. Looking a little bit worse for wear. I think I saw a little bit of battle damage on the side of that car. Will we get a good look of it? Oh no, it's clean. Fresh as the day it was born. Beautiful livery. I'm loving the red and black on that car right now. As we
as we do have a yellow flag. So what has happened? That is at the exit of Redgate going into Cranach Curves.
That was Roy
back to the
Key.
pits and they are gone.
Yeah,
Roy Key.
No chance for a replay there. Roy Key says he has had enough of these conditions. Omar Escorcia, though, wanting more out of this battle, looking like he was going to try to go side by side in the chicane, but wisely backs out. He will try now as we come down into the Melbourne hairpin. Not quite alongside enough to go for a dive bomb. Awkward though, Butkus maybe thought he was going for it, backed out a little bit, and now coming down this final straight. Oh, still that Porsche has, it looks like it's got some excellent acceleration out of these hairpins, able to fend off the mighty Lexus.
Well, I did tell you during qualifying that the Porsche's good around here. Into the pit lane comes the McLaren of Marecki. What's going on with you, Wilpo?
The Porsche is extremely strong for low-speed acceleration in this type of conditions. It has all the traction. It's also one of the better cars on brakes, like significantly better than the Lexus, which is not very good on brakes. So yeah, it's very hard to overtake a Porsche in the Lexus here, especially in these conditions. If it was a little bit less wet, it might be slightly easier, I think. But
yep, so
there are some quite significant undercuts going on. I'm kind of curious to see how it works out for Mr. Sir and Kevin Blanchett.
Well, speaking of all these drivers, we were talking about how hard it is to overtake Porsche. I think we saw a Porsche go overtaken on the main straight. However, we've got all these drivers in the pit lane. Of course, Dinarte Marecki, Kraus Lau, Sir Blanchett, Kim Wilson, Donovan Colton, Douglas Mitchell, Colin Dunham. Loads of drivers, and Omar Escorcia has finally got the move done on Butkus. I think it took him quite a while, but he's finally got it done. He's got 38 minutes to charge off ahead. It's not impossible, but we'll have to wait and see how it will fare up after these pit lanes, because if he doesn't want to get stuck in these silvers again, he's going to have to build up quite a fancy gap.
Yep, so 38 minutes left on the clock. We see a couple of drivers. That was Butkus and Klaus diving in for their one mandatory pit stop. This is about the time where we're getting to, that rough middle of the race area where I would expect to see most drivers doing their pit stops. Escorcia potentially now will have to react to the undercut of Butkus and Klaus, looking to see if he's going to come in on the next lap, get a fresh set of tires, and get on with the rest of this race. A little bit further down the grid, Brian Anderson right up behind Tim Flamger. This is P17 and 18. Simon's on Dan Cran, our other Mustang, sitting a nice P9 on the board. We'll see how that shakes out after pit stops. The Doug train potentially already forming in the back half of this grid. So we've got Doug Mitchell with Colin Dunham behind. Colin Dunham, a little bit of a red bar. Apologies for the seizure alert on stream, but now Daddy Doug, P31, looking to make some progress in the rest of this race. Purple lap now from Kevin Blanchett, who had pit for new tires, a 130.672 from him. That Lexus looking strong.
Strong and dandy. Strong and dandy.
Excuse you.
You heard nothing. It totally is an early hours in the morning. But this is the thing around this circuit. It's a very short pit lane. Like, it's a very, very short pit lane here, so some may think that the undercut's powerful. However, with how short the pit lane is and where it happens, unless you're able to get like a 1 or 2 second gap, coming out the pit lane, you have more of an advantage in going through turn 1, 2, 3 down to 4 than somebody on the actual racing line would, due to how the pit lane's laid out here.
That's a very true point. Got that advantage going into turn 1. So we had from the top, we've got Rados and Mercer, who have now performed their 1 mandatory pit stop. Dornell's Spangler and Peter O'Brien still yet to pit. So looking to see as Dornell's navigates this final sector, will he respond to Rados' pit? Will he come in on this lap? We will have to wait and see. Looking down the order for where Mr. Rados is, P14 on my board, so assuming Dornell's will be coming into oh no, he's continuing on. Let me correct myself. Both Dornell's, Spangler, and Peter O'Brien will take the opportunity to pit. So that will be our indicator as Rados coming down the back straight here towards that final chicane. We'll have to see where Peter O'Brien comes out of the pits, in front or behind him.
Yeah, well, we're at the 35-minute mark. You would expect most pit stops to usually happen around. You would usually expect most of the pit stops to happen around that time. So it's no surprise that a lot of drivers are coming into the pit lane. Guy Manperson, of course, Dan Cran. You've also got Peter O'Brien in the pits. The question is now, though, how will the leaders pick? Kevin Blanchette, fastest driver out there at the current moment in time, 9-minute 4. Not 9 minute, the 9:49 is the Lexus fastest, so far from what we are seeing. And into the pit lane comes Peter O'Brien. Of course, that is 5 drivers in the pit lane at this current moment in time. So with this current weather, the question is we've got a yellow. That was an RTG. That was Andrew Wilson. What has happened to the McDonald's car? This was coming out of Melbourne, where I've gone very, very far back, all the way back to Coppice. Is it on his own, or is it with the Ferrari? That Ferrari closes in very, very quickly, heading up and through the crest, down in towards the braking zone of the S's, which is realistically just more of a singular S. But it's also the junction between the national layout and the home layout, so it's coming home. No, it's not. It's a big squiggle on the rear end for the McLaren, and the Ferrari gets the move done. Is there going to be contact? Porsche is going to be behind, or is it completely on his own? It looks like
what?
He just pulls over to the side into the grass and RTGs. So
okay.
What happened there to the Macca? Kind of just decided, yeah, it's not coming home, gonna pull over, and back to the pits we go.
Okay. So, well, in the meantime...
Doug is off at Coppice, and he's gone. Doug was off at Coppice, so the Doug train is out.
And out of the server. So, Dornell's, you see on your screen, overtaken by Andrew Rados. After the pit stop, he went those extra 2 or 3 laps, and just like we saw last week in Barcelona, guys, where we had Michael Menning going for a huge overcut that ended up not paying off for him, to Dornell's from P1 to P2 now. Andrew Rados, the leader of this race, with that huge, it wasn't even a huge, it was just a reasonable undercut, getting that done on strategy.
Yeah, strategy, wet weather comes to play. Ilpo, let's get your ideas, of course. What have you spotted, and what is the radar looking like?
So that was a 2-lap undercut.
2-lap, okay.
Only that much was enough to jump. Potentially, no, their pit stop times are pretty much identical. So yeah, just 2 laps was enough to make the difference. Sometimes it's like that. It is, interestingly enough, the weather is looking stable. It looks like we're going to have this light rain all the way to the end. I'm sure the drivers are not very happy about that because the wet tires are not very good in these conditions, but it's also too wet for the slicks.
So
If this was Formula One, they'd have intermediates. Oh my god,
the
they are
battle
getting
rages on with
argy-bargy.
these two. So we saw before the pit stop, Omar Escorcia got the move done on Butkus, but now after the pit stop, he's found himself behind again. He's going to have to do it all over again. Poor Omar just cannot find a way. This Porsche is going to be haunting his dreams tonight.
Escorcia had a poor pit stop. His pit in and out time is 3 seconds slower than Butkus, who also didn't have the best of pit stops, but at least his time is kind of decent.
Welcome to Donington. Our pit lane's tricky. As nearly 30 minutes left on the clock, gentlemen. Of course, we've got this Porsche out there. We've got Andrew Rados, who is currently leading. Dornell's P2. But that gap has opened up again. So that's what's happening up there. We may have Peter O'Brien versus Dinarte as well. And we've got so many cars out there. However, only one of them is using the correct hand only one of them is using the correct hand side of the car to drive on.
The battle ever raging. What side of the car do we drive on? It doesn't matter. As long as you know how to drive the car, you can still go fast. Omar Escorcia
Drive on the right.
almost side by side coming into the chicane. Looking aggressive now. Is this the time where he will be able to get it done? Who's braver on the brakes? Escorcia going for it. Side by side contact at the apex. Muscling his way past the Porsche. Omar Escorcia once again getting the job done. Butkus flashing the lights. Not too happy with the little bit of argy-bargy that we saw there. Question, Ilpo, I think you mentioned that neither of these drivers had ideal pit stops. I'm seeing... Of our silver drivers, Marecki and Klaus, who at one time were behind Butkus, up into P8 and 10, whereas Butkus is P14. Klaus was one of the ones who I believe went for a relatively early pit stop. Is this again the strength of the undercut?
In case of Klaus, it's not. Klaus and Butkus pitted together, nose to tail. I think the difference is that Butkus had a significantly worse pit stop than Klaus. There's a 3 second difference between their pit times. Marecki and Klaus had the same pit stop time, but Marecki pitted 1 lap earlier, which probably makes some of that difference.
Okay, so Marecki and Klaus both on pit stops, getting the advantage over their silver competitor, Jorintas Butkus, who is moving hopefully not too much further back in this race. We've got Dan Cran looking just as aggressive as we once saw Escorcia was. Will he be able to make it 2 overtakes in 2 laps into this same hairpin? The Mustang not quite as strong in a straight line, but theoretically stronger on the brakes. No, we're just staying behind for now, getting a nice view of the back of that Porsche. Eat the Lexuses plastered over the rear bumper of that car. Maybe Omar Escorcia took that one personally. He says, "Nuh-uh, you're the meal tonight."
Nuh-uh. As onto the main straight one more time. Of course, it's going to be turn number 1. It's a nice little checker that we're spotting up at the top. Eric Marecki currently leading for the Silvers. Just behind Mr. Cern, not too far behind him, down into turn number 1 of Redgate. Going to hold on to these corners as well. So many moves can be made around this circuit if you know where to do it, especially down into turn number 4 of Old Hairpin. You've also got Starcliffe Bridge, good overtake. However, most of them that we've seen tonight have actually been at Melbourne, so it could get a little bit more tricky, especially when this circuit is not rubbered up and you've got nice and slick wets out there as you head through the right-hander in the classic British weather as it pelts down on your windshield and the wipers work overtime. You go over the crest into the right-hander of Coppice and the fans get an absolutely lovely view. They're absolutely roaring their heads off at the fact that the Porsche is beating the Ford Mustang and now the Lexus is possibly in behind, gonna hold onto it. This Ford Mustang is kind of in a sandwich right now because it is surrounded by absolutely amazing and possibly superior European engineering as you see a plane landing in the background at East Midlands Airport.
Side by side though, on track the action.
Yeah, I was doing a say. I was doing a segue. I was doing a segue. I was trying to do a segue there, Philip.
Gotta stay focused, Alexa. Side by side, Dan Cran and Jarintas Butkus on track.
I was staying focused. I was doing a segue with the plane because the planes fly. They're flying into East Midlands Airport, and the Ford Mustang was trying to fly around the outside.
Speaking of flying, Andrew rate us now. Oh, go ahead, Ilpo.
There's a very hard fight for P22 and behind. Wilson, Queso, LeMay, Laz.
Ooh, perfect timing.
Are all right together there.
I'm glad you brought it up right at that moment, because we just got a glimpse of Fire Queso. That was turn one, stronger on the brakes and just snatching that position away from Gomer Wilson. Well done to Fire Queso, that longtime lover of the Ferrari 296, rocking that. So our real life inspiration, I think this is the red and yellow colors of the Le Mans prototype teams. Is that what I'm seeing here?
I don't think it's the main. I don't think it's the main one, as we got these drivers battling. It's Colin Dunham and of course Donovan Colton as you head down Starkley straight towards the S's. I believe the Ferrari is based off Ferrari SF. I think it's based off Ferrari SF from Le Mans, because I think, if I am correct in my assumption, the main team uses just uses the red with the yellow lines. If I'm correct in my assumption, so that is based off, quote unquote second team, because Ferrari's got so many teams, but it seems to be based off what many would consider the second Ferrari in Le Mans, as you've also got the teammate who's only 3 positions behind.
Yep, so that would be Mr. Joel Moffitt representing P25. Still close to this battle, so that's Kurt LeMay pressurizing Gomer Wilson ahead. Of course, that Porsche, we've seen how strong it is after Jarintas Butkus.
Wilson is on extremely old tires. I think he pitted lap 1, maybe, or lap 2.
Oh.
He's been out for 33 minutes now on those tires, while LeMay's tires are only 7 minutes old. So there is a very significant tire performance difference there.
Oh, you gotta imagine he's gonna be a sitting duck here. 24 minutes left on the clock. He might not make it another 24 seconds. Kurt LeMay up the inside, turn 7, contact. Gomer Wilson forced out into the dirt. We've got Guy Manperson as a result, side by side with Joel Moffitt. How is this going to work going into the chicane? 2 does not go into 1 at this opportunity here. The BMW squeezes the Ferrari on the inside. Gentlemanly, he will let up on the gas to let Moffitt back through. But in the meantime, John Laz taking the opportunity to steal away P24. Manperson and Moffitt still battling. Arjun getting caught up behind. This is too much to keep track of. Let's take a quick look back up ahead, because Mr. Jeremy Mercer has caught up massively. Dornell's potentially a mistake. You see on your screen the gaps used to be 3 seconds between P2 and 3, but it has now been reduced down to 0.3 of a second. Renato Dornell's potentially some trouble in the second half of this race.
It does seem to be that at the current moment in time. 23 minutes remains on the clock. We saw the chaos back there. That's brought the Retro Williams into that fight now as well. So I'm sure the Ford Mustang will not exactly be happy about what happened back there. But now the battle up front does continue down into Melbourne, and through the right-hander is going to be as tight as you'll want between these two. A Jackson Storm looking McLaren versus a classic retro Ferrari, and in fact that's not even a custom livery. I don't think that's just a good old in-game. That's just a good old in-game livery on the car of Renato Dornell's. So it is right there for the picking, and ladies and gentlemen, we see Alexis in the background. You've got Jeff Spangler, who is coming and knocking, and he is making his way towards this fight. The reigning champion is looking to get a spot on that podium.
Yep, further back we've got Fire Queso attacking now the Lexus of Donovan Colton, one of our fan favorite drivers and commentators. looking good in that Olympus livery Lexus, inspired by, actually, he revealed to me it's an old Toyota rally car livery. That this livery made for him by, of course, the lovable Panzo Rigatoni. So, shout outs to all the countless hours put forth by our community here. Fire Queso not able to get the job done on that particular lap, but right up on the back of Donovan Colton, you would expect he's going to want to get this move done as soon as possible.
Sooner is sooner rather than later is what you would hope for, as for some reason there is no spray that we're seeing. I guess these cameras must be really good at hiding it. But through the right-hander is going to be. I guess this is where all the budget went, and why we had some tech issues earlier. All the budget went on these cameras, as through the right-handers down into the braking zone, and now holding onto it as well. Honestly, I have no idea what it would be like seeing all the spray around this circuit. Honestly, I think they would shut down the airport, but the Lexus is definitely not going to shut down because he is on the back of Kelvin Lau. So it is going to be countless hours into this fight, as the preparation, of course, happens every single week between the drivers through the right-handers now, and onto the main parts of this circuit. Of course, getting special permission from the from the ATC to have the helicopter up there, because we are on a flight plan. And now through the good old Starkleys Bridge and into the braking zone, through the right-hander again, and towards Coppice we go. Trying to hold onto that position is the good old Bentley, aka the Boatley. And gentlemen, if I am seeing this correctly, we have a car driving on the correct side of the road, and Peter O'Brien is looking to shut that down. I guess the fight really does happen out there on the circuit, deciding which side is the correct side.
Regardless of which side is the correct side, the back side of that Bentley looking fabulous. Always a good looking car. Peter O'Brien aggressive on the brakes, almost drawing up alongside just on the power of his left foot alone, but on the gas, expecting the Nissan here to have some good acceleration, but the Bentley putting the grunt down and getting it done. No chance for the GTR to pull alongside and make an overtake done.
Yeah, but it is going to be all to play for through the right-hander now, and then onto the throttle, trying to hold on to these guys. Let's have a look back at the train, as Kevin Blanchette is also leading that fight. You've got him followed by Klaus, Nixon, Lau, Escorcia. So many drivers having so many fights. A big ol' Lexus on the rear wing tonight, and it is going into the old hairpin. And you've got to be honest, you absolutely love this circuit, the best circuit in the world. Sorry, Kyle Army, I know I'm talking bad about you right now. I absolutely love you, Kyle Army, but Donington, I've got to say it tonight. Anyways, Mr. Sir is leading this battle as well. He has got Eric Marecki just behind him, Peter O'Brien, of course, and Donate, of course, up ahead, but that is 6 seconds.
So a big welcome back in the chat to Miss Iris. We missed you last week. We heard you were working on a group project, carrying all the lazy group members that you were working with. Anton, your boy, unfortunately, he made some incorrect strategy calls in the beginning of this race. Had to pit a couple extra times, maybe because he chose the wrong tire, down in dead last, but it's okay. We still love him, and we're still happy to have you back. Hope all is well with you. The backside of this train, so from P7 to P13, you've got Mr. Sir Marecki Blanchette, Klaus Nixon, Kelvin Lau, and this man here, Omar Escorcia, bringing up the caboose of this train, P13. Just maybe hoping for a driver ahead to make a mistake, maybe get an opportunistic move done, and get some moves up the grid.
Yeah, most definitely, and a big thank you to Puts and a big thank you to Pounce for the subscription with the Prime. A big thank you to all the supporters here at the Sim Racing Alliance. No matter who you may be supporting tonight, we've got yellow. That's Donovan Colton round with, I believe, Guyman person Retro Williams trying to fight his way through against the Ferrari down into the braking zone. Donovan Cohen, Guyman person, or is it going to be hit?
Oh no! Oh no!
Go deep. Both go deep due to the wet weather, and that is what happens. Oh no, you have got to be feeling for that. It was just a slight tap. Don't go side by side for the S's. Oh my god.
Are we really going to go 3 wide into this braking zone? Omar Escorcia shoves it up the inside of 2 drivers.
3 wide into Melbourne, and now wheel to
On the exit, he gets murdered.
Round you go. It was never gonna happen. 3 wide into Melbourne. How do you do it? It just does not work. We need to get a replay on that, because what on earth happened on the side of it, down into the braking zone, up the inside, Ferrari on the outside, nowhere to go, tries to take evasive action, Lexus on the inside, Lexus on the outside, ping pong gets all over the place, and it is fired around. Luckily enough, they keep on going, but it is all over the place tonight. We're getting into the final 20 minutes, the gloves are off, it is pure fists, and it is now all to play for here at Wet Donington.
So the back half of this train getting dropped, but up ahead, Mr. Sir, Eric Marecki, Kevin Blanchett, and Joel Klaus. P7 through 11, the battle rages on. Eric Marecki looking racy, trying to get some good drive, going a little bit wide onto the grass. He won't be able to get it done into this chicane here, but you know he's looking hungry. Same for everybody in this race. Things are all kicking off here. A little bit of gap now has formed. Kelvin Lau, P11, has been dropped from the back of that group. It's formed almost a new train, so a couple of drivers behind. Butkus, Cran, and Kim have been able to get up onto the back of Nixon because of that little argy-bargy that we saw coming out of Melbourne's. A new train has formed with Kelvin Lau as the conductor.
All aboard the Midland Express. You're gonna have to. Luckily enough, we don't have any 180s here tonight, so you're gonna have plenty of reliable trains, which is going to be forming around this circuit. I get nobody's going to get these references, but I'm going to say it, okay?
I'm going to guess it was a train?
Yes, it was a class of train. It is the main train used by the Midland Main Line. At least until the 810s come out. In fact, there was another plane. It's going to be flying. Just like these cars are flying around the circuit. Luckily enough, no cars flying like the Red Bull in the intro made by Selena Boonstra. Flying around the outside though is going to be Guy Manperson up against the Ford Mustang. You gotta expect the Ford Mustang to have the better acceleration off the line, but in fact it's going to be Guy Manperson down the main straight and down towards Redgate. It's going to be the 599 who gets it done. The rear end for Gomer Wilson is looking extra spicy and extra wiggly tonight, Philip.
Indeed, perhaps struggling on tires. Gomer Wilson, I believe, was one of our early pitters. We'll have to keep an eye on him going potentially backwards. Is that true, Ilpo? Or am I just talking out of my butt? Yes, okay.
Wilson has been on those tires for 44 minutes.
Oof.
So they are trash.
Yeah.
So another interesting statistics. It's not been a good race for Butkus. He is down 7 positions from where he started, and even worse, 2 of other silver drivers are significantly above him on the standings, so it's not been a very good race for him, unfortunately.
Yep, so Marecki and Klaus currently sitting P8 and P10 in this race, 13 minutes remaining, potentially on for a huge points game in the Silver Overall Championship. Of course, every race has championship implications. We're fighting for shoeies at the end. It's not a punishment, it's a privilege to get to do a shoey on the reveal stream. Marecki still right up behind Mr. Sir, but I don't know, is he just content to get some good points in this race, top 8? Or are we going to see a little bit of action 12 minutes left in this race?
Well, he's in a very difficult place, because if he attacks and it doesn't work, there's a very high probability that he gets overtaken from behind. So he has to be very careful about when to attack.
Can I get a quick weather update? We saw Joel Klaus there on that straight, diving to the left, potentially over towards a wetter part of the track, trying to cool his tires. This looks like an extremely dry race. Would it be fair to say that some of our drivers might be a little overheated at this moment?
I think they have been the entire time. The conditions are almost exactly the same as they were in qualifying, but there are more cars on the track, which tends to dry it out. And that's also why we don't see the spray. It is genuinely not wet enough to form proper spray right now.
That may also potentially be my video settings. You know, you turn your particle effects down so that as a driver you can see through it. It's an esports thing. I apologize. We'll try to get a little bit more immersive realism next time around. Back up ahead, Jess.
Well, I can tell you, I am spectating the race with my full broadcasting settings.
Okay.
I can tell you there's no spray, except when the cars go over a puddle.
Oh.
So it is way too dry to form proper spray. There's a tiny bit of spray on the tires, but that's it.
Okay.
In fact, gentlemen, we have been asked if this is a PC league. This is in fact a PC league, and if you are interested in joining the Sim Race Alliance, you can type in the chat exclamation mark Discord, and it should pop you up a link. If that does not work, then you can go to sra.gg to join the Sim Racing Alliance action, as you've got plenty of drivers heading around this season. However, gentlemen, I will say this, as we are in the middle of watching this fight, as Klaus has got the move done here. So what happened as we headed down out of copy? Okay, there is the spray. It's happening in the very, very, very wet part. Does he go deep, or does... No, just... onto the gravel. Very much evasive action. And it is going to be there. Thank you for the follow, and thank you for all the support for everybody who is watching. Now, gentlemen, we've got this, because we've got Eric Marecki and Klaus, who are going to be fighting for the silver win now. And there is a very big gap between the top two, so it seems like this is going to be the category win that is going to be up for grabs. But Klaus has to close in by a second, and of course, if you win the silver championship, you got to do a shoey. And I'm going to mention it because we're here in Britain. Jay Queasy won commentator of the season last season, and we are still waiting for his shoey. Jay Queasy, where is your shoey? We are waiting for it. We need it. As right now, as we head out of these two corners, honestly, I would be obliged to show it on the D2 stream tomorrow night if he sent it in. Don't forget to do your shoeys, ladies and gentlemen. It is one of the things that comes with being a champion, and Andrew Rados is out there, P number 1, 32 laps deep, fastest lap. He is on fire tonight, and I am just going to get clarification here. Where is Michael Menning? Because I do not see the man tonight.
I don't believe he showed up tonight.
Michael Menning?
Yeah, I did not see him in qualifying. I don't think he desired to race in these questionable conditions on this admittedly great track. He is a busy man, though. I understand. Maybe he had some conflicts. I believe, like yourself, Alexa, he is a student, so maybe had a group project he was working on.
Yeah, Chat's just pointed out, he is doing Michael Menning things.
As he is entitled to do.
Indeed. Michael Menning is one of those drivers where, when he shows up, you know how it's going to go. So, perhaps he opted to decide, I do not want to deal with wet Donington, so we are not going to. But right now, you've got Kelvin Lau chasing down Blanchette as well, and now Klaus has brought that gap down to 0.8 seconds. So he is closing in more and more. Where is he going to catch him? Up and through the crest of the right-hander is now down towards the S's, as Joel Klaus is chasing down Eric Marecki as we look on the hood as we continue here if this was real life. Luckily enough, there's no vibrations on the hood because you can see the engine in the back of the car in the Lamborghini. But it is now going down into the braking zone of Melbourne, the only time you're going to see Melbourne this season, because we're not going Mount Panorama and we're not going Nordschleife for either. So through the right-hander, one more time, you can see all of the drivers. We've got yellow at Starkley's Bridge, and that is Kraus. So what has happened to him? We got a bit of a gap here. So we will see if we can go back and see what happened to Joel Kraus going through Starkley's Bridge.
Did you say Kraus or Klaus? Oh, Kraus. I gotcha.
Kraus.
Scene. We are checking. Hashtag Ferrari. Oh, we didn't go far back enough, but that is through the first sector, just out on the grass. Those are not intentional donuts. He's trying to get back around the right direction, but just can't get the power down. Loops it on the grass in extra time, and in the process losing a half a dozen positions. It's just scenes from this poor Mercedes. His troubles continuing. That's Gomer Wilson and Donovan Colton close up behind.
Indeed, and guess what? The leader's coming up, so try not to get lapped as we now head back to this battle. It's Jeff Spangler versus Jeremy Mercer down into the braking zone of Melbourne. Outside line will be there, going to be trying to close in onto him, wheel to wheel, side by side, up against these drivers. No moves done yet. So it is Jeff Spangler who's fighting for that final position on the podium. We're at 5 minutes, 50 seconds left on the clock. Ilpo, talk us through it. What lap times is Andrew Rados setting right now?
Let's see. Rados last lap 31.2, which is fastest lap of anyone on the last lap by quite a significant margin. He pulled almost 6/10 on P2 on that lap alone.
Yep, Jeremy Mercer a 132 flat, but that was because, of course, we saw him having to go a little bit defensive into that Melbourne hairpin, fighting off the challenge of Jeff Spangler. The gaps have opened up enough that Andrew Rados just kind of walking away. The only thing that might stop his charge is that blue flag traffic ahead that we caught a glimpse of earlier.
Yeah, well, we're going to wait and see that. Jeff Spangler and Mercer still locked in that fight. We've got Evan Kim on the screen. He's locked in between plenty of drivers right now. Dan Cran just in front of him.
Ooh.
Fernandez behind us. Oh, somebody just got off. Yes, it was Wilson Fernandez. So going a little bit wide there through Starkley's Bridge. The rear end stepped out. Luckily enough, he was able to catch it. So nothing too bad for him there. He did lose out to Simmons, not to Durant though. So he's kept it going. He's kept it on track, and he's got good car control. But that could have ended very, very badly for him. But all these drivers, you can see P3 and P4 actually just heading through Goodhards as we were going down the Starkley straight. So all these drivers, all these fights with 4 minutes left on the clock. Down the inside is going to be Omar S. Garcia, currently locked in a fight with what I believe is Nixon, and it will be Nixon. Down the inside now, wheel to wheel, side by side, heading through Goodhards, and it's all to play for. Wiggly wobbly, all on the exit, moves across to block. Gonna try and put as much spray into that windshield as possible, or at least what you can find around this circuit as it dries up. Down the inside, it's gonna go Omar S. Garcia, very close to each other, inches, millimeters apart. Little bump there as he went onto the grass. Nixon is going to be on the outside. Now going to have the inside line through turn number 3. Wheel to wheel, side by side, down into Old Hairpin. Ferrari not going to give it up. Going to go up and under. Going to get the move done. Big rear end loss there for Omar S. Garcia. Nixon holds on to it. That is racing at its finest. Joris Butkus is now into this fight as well. He is on the rear end of that Lexus, and it just seems like Omar S. Garcia cannot escape that teal Porsche tonight.
Omar Escorcia. So as our leader is crossing the finish line here, we've got this lap plus 2 more laps remaining. Omar Escorcia needing to hold on. He's struggling perhaps a little bit on these tires. Joris Butkus, as mentioned, has not had a great race. You know he's going to be wanting to get some of these positions back, especially after we saw that moment earlier on in the race where Omar Escorcia kind of muscled his way past. Maybe some thoughts of revenge on the mind of Joris Butkus. He says, get yourself back here. I am not done with you yet. Like, you ain't going nowhere. I got you for 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, the maths puts us on penultimate, and we now head on to the line. 2 more laps around this circuit, around Donington Park, and it is all to play for between these drivers. It is up and done. Spangler still looking for that position to be able to get
Just
up
happened.
into, to be able to get up, and we have had an issue. Blame the
We're
leak
back.
in the production truck. We are back, and we are running seemingly just a little bit of wiring issue. Little bit of water hit the wires there for a second in the production truck. Seems like we didn't fix the leak properly. The wooden planks didn't do the job, but now we're back, and we are back in this fight. It's Kelvin Lau who is chasing down Klaus. I'm Alex Sabato, joined by Opa Ruslan, and I'm Philip Ennis-Muller, bringing you the action tonight. If you didn't know, which you should, if you're subscribed. And now down onto the main straight, or you watch frequently, down the inside now into the S's chicane. Kelvin Lau looking for the outside. It's going to be the inside, and it's onto the gravel again. We've seen it happen over and over throughout this race, and we have now got the leader on the final lap. It is going to be all over the place, up and under for the Lamborghini as Philip threw away the 1F token, and now down into the braking zone again, round the outside, up and under possibility, gonna be up against them as we hear laughing in the background. I don't know why anybody would be laughing though, because it has been an absolute domination tonight. With this fight continuing, you have got so many drivers out there. You've got the battle between Kelvin Lau and Klaus, which has now come to an end. You've got Blanchette in there as well. Seems like Butkus has had a moment actually, as they have got Omar Escorcia still in front of them. Don't know why I said they had a moment, because they definitely didn't. That was a voice crack and a half. But now we have to look to the man who is going to be the man of the hour. He has put this wet race to shreds, and he has shown why he is in the lead. Andrew Rados in the Lexus. I may have written it out at the start saying that it was a Lamborghini, Porsche and Honda track, but he has put the doubters, myself included, to shame. The 120 with domination on another level. The white flag flies as he heads through Goodhart's. It's gonna be Andrew Rados as he has a little bit of lap traffic in the way, but down onto the main straight, the headlights flash. Andrew Rados wins round 4, Donington Park of season number 15. Donnells is going to come across the line here. We're going to see in the background Jerry Mercer and Jeff Spangler as well locked in this fight. Jeff Spangler will have to settle for just off the podium, and then Peter O'Brien ends up going deep, unable to get past Donate. Dan Cran drive through on the final lap. That is going to give him a 30-second penalty, so he's going to fall further down the grid. But that is going to be Andrew Rados, followed by Donnells, Mercer, Jeff Spangler and Donati rounds out the top 5. All these fights are still happening. Philip, talk us through them.
So we see this middle group here, Omar Escorcia crossing the line behind Nixon, ahead of Butkus, ahead of Kim. Kurt LeMay, he will have one last chance to try to make a move happen onto Colin Dunham into this final hairpin. He chooses against it. You see on your screen there, Dan Cran, that drive-through penalty converts into a 30-second time penalty at the end of this race. Couldn't hold on to it for just one more lap. The battle between the BMW boys, we got Brian Anderson and Guy Manperson. The last battle on track. We're keeping an eye on it. These guys looking to just keep it respectful across the line. And that, ladies and gentlemen, as we get the rest of our stragglers through, Andrew Rados from Dornells, from Mercer, from Spangler. As people are leaving the server, it's going to get a little awkward. Denarte O'Brien, Mr. Sir Marecki, Lau, Klaus, Nixon, your top 10. This has been... this has been quite the stream.
Indeed, indeed. As it was that, and I'm trying to figure out who won in silver again. I'm just getting this up so I know who to do for interviews.
Highest silver was Eric Marecki.
And P3. For the main. Thought it was. I just didn't know if ACC changed it, because it could be awkward at the end. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Donington. Gentlemen, whilst a little bit of a wait for all the drivers to hop in Thingamaroni, so we can totally not just teleport them up here. What did we think of that race? Let's not talk about the production issues.
I mean, that was quite eventful, although that's not entirely surprising given the conditions. So, yeah, I mean, exciting race, lots of close racing.
Yeah, no, the wet weather delivered, in my opinion. I mean, we saw lots of kind of heart-stopping moments because of that wet weather. Drivers being pushed to their absolute limit, both because of the weather and because of each other. I mean, I still can't get over that 3 wide into the Melbourne hairpin. It ended in a little bit of contact, but honestly, that could have been even worse than it ended up being.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what we expected for the rain. We expected the rain to cause some interesting aspects. It created a more interesting aspect than I thought it would, especially with the tires, because it was in that part where you couldn't get the tires the way you wanted them, but you also couldn't go onto slicks. So it came down to the tire management in the end of how everything could be guided through. Of course, we had those few incidents here and there to hold onto it, but at the end, it was all to play for us. We are still waiting for these drivers. Oh my god, please hop in the VC quicker. Oh yes, let's go with him. And I know that you two are going to throw these interviews on me. Hello, Eric Marecki. You are live on the Sim Racing Alliance Twitch channel, and I forgot that profile picture is there. So that's throwing me off.
You.
That's so cursed. What is that?
That's throwing my professionalism out the window. I was being sassy tonight because it's my home circuit. Oh my god. Right, Donington. So, right, Donington Park. It was. Talk us through the tyres and the strategy, because it was very difficult out there from what we've heard, with it not being exactly optimal for the wet tyres, but also not exactly optimal for the dries.
Yeah, it was. I would say definitely the track favored the wets, but it wasn't wet enough to keep them cool, so they were orange though pretty much the whole race. So I was actually running up a TC just to try to save tires for the end, because they were getting kind of squirrely in the practice race. But this track is so hard to pass on unless somebody makes a mistake. I decided to pit early to try to get fresh tires and hop the guys in front of me, and it paid off. And I just couldn't get around Mr. Sir. But I'm pretty happy with what happened. I'm feeling good. I finally feel like I know how to drive again. I hope I could bring home some good results for the rest of the season and maybe see all these guys in gold next season. That's going to be my goal for this season.
Yeah, well, it was a good result tonight. Going into next week, of course, it's going to be a little bit different. Where are we going next week? That is a good question. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
It's Hungaroring.
Hungaroring?
It is the Hungaroring. Yes, it is. I thought Hungaroring was round 6 for some reason. No, it's Hungaroring next week. So very not similar, but kind of with the grass around the circuit. It's Monaco without the walls. What is the plan going into that?
Well, I have a little negative opinion of Hungaroring. I think it was my second season in SRA. I crashed out of the lead in D2 at that track. So every time, I think it's like turn 6, every time I go into that corner, I just see that flashing back in my memory. So it's gonna be a little challenging. Hopefully I can get some practice in with the off week next week, but I got a lot of work stuff coming in the next couple of weeks, so I'm not gonna have a ton of time to practice.
Yeah, so before we let you go, and you can enjoy your week off, from racing at least, is there anybody you'd like to give a thanks to? Chat, stop throwing me off.
Yeah, I'll shout out all the Madhouse boys. They've been all pretty uplifting. You know, we always try to help each other, which was helpful the last couple of seasons, especially for me. And I also want to shout you guys out, because without you, I wouldn't be able to look back at the Twitch replay with my face on it. So that's always pretty nice.
Well, don't worry, you get to see me lose my composure again. We shall possibly see you in 2 weeks' time at the Hungaroring. Have a good night, and
You
we
too.
shall see you at Hungary.
All right, thank y'all.
And that was Eric Marecki. Let's see, do we have a Mr. Mercer?
Pretty good. Got a good qualifying in and held up people behind me, namely Spangler.
Yeah, that is going to be my question. Of course, final 20 minutes, we saw Spangler behind you basically the entire time. What was it like defending out there? Of course, the track width does help out a little bit, but one mistake and he would have got past you. So, how was it like out there? What was it like out there with the wet weather as well, and the Ferrari and the car in the rear view mirror?
So it was very light rain, so my tires were kind of overheating for wet tires, especially the rear tires. And over the course of a stint, my rear would give out before the front because of their overheating. And so it was a challenge just to keep it steady through a lot of the corners, and that became more important as Spangler got closer and closer. I did mess up into the chicane one lap, but it wasn't too bad, so I just defended the inside and gave him the outside. But I was able to stay ahead from that. Aside from that, it was just all about make sure I don't make any large mistakes, and it'd be very difficult for him to pass. So.
Indeed. Hungaroring, 2 weeks time, Monaco without the walls. What is the plan?
It's the dry race, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Laguna.
So that should.
Laguna's the wet one.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't driven there yet in this car, so I'm gonna have to figure out what it's like to drive the car. But yeah, it's another track that's difficult to pass on, so good qualifying will be key, and of course, figuring out pit strategy will be key as well. Because of the difficulty to pass, the opportunities are often on the pit cycle.
Indeed, indeed. Before we let you go, anybody you would like to give a thanks to?
Yeah, my team, Peter O'Brien and Jordan Nixon. Peter's now in a Nissan for this season, so Nixon's my immediate teammate, but been great teammates, so glad to have Nixon back.
Well, fair enough. We shall let you go and pop open the podium champagne. Have a good night, Mr. Mercer.
Thank you.
And gentlemen, let's now pull in a good old Dornell's if we still have him available.
Unfortunately, no Dornells has not been in the chat yet, but I would offer you, as a compromise, our race winner, Mr. Andrew Rados. Welcome to the booth, sir, and congratulations on that, dare I say, dominant race win.
Thank you, thank you.
So, talk us through it. The strategy, everything. Wet weather, Donington. Just talk us through your race, because, like Mr. Muller said, you kind of flew away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of shocked that the Lexus had this kind of pace on the wet, but I was behind Dornelis, and then I pitted early, and then I got him on the undercut, and then had some clean air, and then yeah, once I got the clean air, I just drove away. You know, I love the wet, and yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, you said the Lexus. You said you were surprised by the Lexus. Is that because you didn't think it was going to be driving so well in the wet? Do you think the weather could have played a factor into that, being a kind of middle ground where the wet tyres weren't the best, but you also couldn't go on the slicks?
Well, everyone told me that, oh, the Lexus is trash in the wet, but, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, some people call me daddy of the wet, and so I was like, I'm just going to drive. So I figured it out. I love driving in the wet, and we had pace. We figured it out. So, yeah. And my partner did well. Shout out to Kevin. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Hungaroring coming up in 2 weeks' time after the week break. Monaco without the walls. Probably harder for the Lexus, I would say, personally. But has there been any preparation going into that and the second half of the season?
No, I haven't thought that far ahead. I was just trying to win this race, and then yeah, we'll go from there. But I think that Hungaroring isn't going to be great for the Lexus, but we'll figure it out.
Well, fair enough. And of course, like usual, anybody you would like to give a thanks to?
Shout out to my teammate Kevin. He had a good race. Nice to see him have a good finish for the team standings. Everyone watching my Twitch right now. Yeah. Shout out to Lexus, you know. And as always, I'm Honda, but you know, this season I'm Lexus, so yeah.
Bro is trying to get that Lexus sponsorship. Well done tonight, Mr. Andrew Rados. We shall let you pop open the winner champagne, and have a good night. We shall see you in 2 weeks at the Hungaro Ring.
All right, sounds good. Daddy out.
Daddy out.
We will not be mentioning that, Mr. Muller. Mr. Muller, Elpo, final word.
I thought it was lovely.
Compose yourself, Mr. Muller.
Not only is he a man with incredible pace in the Lexus, he's a man with a great sense of humor and apparently a Twitch stream of his own. It's a shame we didn't get the plug for his Twitch ID. Would love to see a little dual stream with him in the future. But yeah, no, great race. Thank you all in the chat for hanging out with us, for sticking through it with us. I think in the end it was worth it. That was just close battles from front to end, and I'm happy to still be here with you all.
Indeed. Mr. Muller, I already said Mr. Muller. Mr. Rutsalainen, any parting words?
I mean, I'm happy that we have a break week. I can use the break from all of this, but also I'm really looking forward to seeing what's gonna happen at Hungaroring, because it is a very tight track, but it is also a very high intensity track. There's not a whole lot of wasted time there, and these guys are so close in pace, and the battles are always really tight. So I'm really looking forward to see how good the race is gonna be in D1.
Indeed. Of course, Donington, it's a wet track, and it is an amazing track. We had a few incidents out there, but that is racing at its finest, and you get all the action right here on Simplay. Of course, the racing action for Donington isn't done just yet. You got Division 2 tomorrow night here on Twitch, brought to you by myself, Adam Santana, and Henry Ramirez. Division 4 will be brought to you on YouTube by Anton Rushovic and Donovan Colton, and then Division 6 brought to you by Sig SVG, Selena Boonstra, and Loic Norman Dow. Of course, D1 will be back in 2 weeks' time. If you want to catch up on the racing action, which has happened elsewhere tonight, Division 4 and Division 5 and Division 3 will be available to watch straight away on YouTube. Division 3 brought to you by Ian Byron, Cubemaster, and Seth Roker, with Division 5 being brought to you by Stephanie Fisher and Mac Morgan. Ilpo and Philip will be back in 2 weeks' time with me. I'll be back tomorrow night. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been SRA. This has been Season 15, Division 1, round number 4 at a wet Donington Park. Good night.